You identify these 5 tectonic forces. They don't act in isolation. They're going to act against one another and influence one another. And are they changing more now than they have in previous times in history, I guess, is one thing that I've wondered. Is that kind of one of your key motivators here?
Yes. So all the forces that I talk about, all 5 of them, are things that have been in play for a very long time. But it so happens that 2 in particular are really taking off about now. And so over the next 5 to 10 years, they will have a big influence on the business environment. So beginning with the most obvious one, population aging is a very well-known thing. We know it really well, but it's now the most active it has been since the 1970s. It's in reverse, because in the 70s is when folks like me entered the workforce, both baby boomers. And now what we have is a big, aging of the population, as opposed to the opposite that we had in the 70s. And so as the baby boomers that go into the retirement wave. Same thing with technological progress. I mean, technological progress is a constant. There's always something going on. But there have only been 3 big waves, 3 industrial revolutions that are as big as the one we're just entering now, which is the 4th industrial revolution around digitization and artificial intelligence. So take that. What usually comes along with technological change is growing income inequality. And we can see that by looking out the window. I mean, in the past 10 years, over 70% of global citizens have seen a worsening of income equality. So it's very dominant. Some people blame globalization, other people blame technology. It's all of those things. But that sense of having been left out is becoming very real. And of course, it just graduates into a political discussion because it's what people care about. Well, politicians have the hardest job in the world, but they care about what people care about. So it becomes politically polarizing. And my 4th force is rising debt, which we don't have to talk about long. Everybody knows there's rising debt, but government debt has exploded during the pandemic. And therefore, it too has become much bigger as opposed to 2 or 3 years ago. And then finally, there's climate change, which of course has been there forever, but now it's very present. It's suddenly not just climate change, but it is a forced transition to net zero by 2050. That's only 30 years from now. That's a big structural effect on the economy. And as you ended, I think what's important about these is each of those could be analyzed or thought about individually. But what I really spend my time on here is the fact that they can interact with one another and cause magnified effects that are completely unpredictable, kind of chaos or black swans. And they have done so in past episodes, such as the Victorian Depression or the Great Depression of the 30s or the global financial crisis. And so I learned from those past episodes, and that just means that the volatility we're facing is going to continue to rise. That's my belief.